Good Thursday morning, and thank you for joining us here on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. This morning marks day 16 of the government shutdown, and the impacts are still growing here. In less than 12 hours ago, Minnesota stopped processing food stamp applications. Michelle Beck tells us more about what that means for thousands and thousands of Minnesotans.
Yeah, hey there. Especially if you're receiving food stamps now, you'll want to go to this website from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. It explains at the top of this page, if the federal government shutdown continues into November, there will not be enough funds to pay November SNAP benefits. If you're receiving food stamps before today, state officials say to keep using those benefits like usual for now. But as of last night, applications for new benefits cannot be approved. Now, this affects a lot of people. State officials say roughly 440,000 Minnesotans receive SNAP benefits in an average month. And this morning, we're also hearing stories at food pantries around the country of how the government shutdown is affecting military and federal worker families.
If there's issues at the high level, they trickle down to all of us, even the ones that serve.
They're not getting a paycheck, and this has never happened to them before, and they were embarrassed and humiliated and terrified.
Now, with the near future of SNAP in jeopardy, there's new word the federal government shutdown is also slowing the U.S. economy. That's coming from the Treasury Department, estimating the impact is about $15 billion a week. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you very much for that. So if you're heading to the airport this morning, you can expect some big crowds, and it has nothing to do with the shutdown. It's MEA weekend, one of the busiest of the year at MSP. Audrey Russo has a closer look at the travel rush.
Yeah, well, good news out here at MSP. There's only a handful of delays, and looking up here at the flight board, I'm not seeing any of them register, so they're likely later on in the afternoon. And the TSA line is moving pretty fast. Let me tell you where you don't want to be, though. Apparently, the self-serve bag drop here in the Delta kiosk, this is where we're seeing a long line of people looking to check their bag. But all in all, people are in a good mood. 52,000 happy people expected to come through the airport today, ready to take part in this uniquely Minnesotan tradition. If you're wondering how MEA weekend came to be, because I'm not from Minnesota, so I sure was, it started as continuing education where teachers would attend a large professional development conference, and now it's more tradition than anything else. The next big travel day here at MSP is Sunday. We got some happy folks over there. The next big travel day is Sunday with 48,000 people expected here as everyone returns home. Now, this teachers conference that really started it all for MEA, that is actually still happening. It's at the River Center in St. Paul, so you can expect a little bit of congestion in that part of the Twin Cities as well as here at the airport. Yeah, we see a lot of folks out here getting ready to check their bags, get on their flights, and head to somewhere hopefully warm, sunny, and just maybe visit family. That's what I've been hearing from the folks I've been talking to. Back to you.
Yeah, airport's pretty busy this morning, so if you can, head out a little bit early to make sure that you catch your flight. So this morning, the FAA is investigating an alleged hack on PA systems at 4 airports in North America. So here's a map of those locations. Travelers heard pro-Palestinian political messages praising Hamas and attacking President Trump, along with Israel's prime minister. Now, Harrisburg International in Pennsylvania was among the 4 airports that were affected by the attack that disrupted travel operations and scared passengers. The other 3 airports were in Canada, including Kelowna and Victoria International Airports in British Columbia and Windsor International Airport in Ontario. This morning, anger is growing in Israel after Hamas says it has handed over all hostage bodies that it can access, adding that, quote, special equipment is necessary to recover the remaining bodies. U.S. officials say they do not believe Hamas is violating the deal, despite missing the 72-hour deadline. 9 bodies have been returned so far, but 19 are still missing. Also today, the Ministry of Health in Gaza says it received 30 bodies of deceased Palestinians, but said some of them show signs of abuse. Right now, tensions are rising after dozens of reporters walked out of the Pentagon yesterday, rejecting the government-imposed rule that would restrict their work. About 40 to 50 journalists handed their access badges in and left the Pentagon shortly after the 4 p.m. deadline. The new rules would leave journalists vulnerable to expulsion if they report on information not approved by the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. This comes after 5 major broadcast networks, including Hegseth's former employer, Fox News, said they will not agree to new government-imposed restrictions. An unexpected turn this morning in the case against former Hudson teacher Abigail Faust, who's accused of sexually assaulting 2 teens. That case will now move forward to an arraignment and a potential trial. Faust allegedly had sex with a 15-year-old at his family's home in Minnesota and her home in Wisconsin. She's charged in both states. The Wisconsin case also includes allegations she had sex with the teen's friend. Yesterday, Faust decided to waive her hearing, preventing more details from coming out. She'll be back in court in 2 weeks for this case and the case involving the 5th grader she allegedly kissed. Now, Faust's friend and former fellow teacher Madison Bergman pled guilty to sexual misconduct with a child 2 weeks ago. She'll be sentenced in December. This morning, a medical spa owner in Prior Lake is facing charges accused of using black market Botox on unsuspecting clients and injecting them without the proper license or training. The charges also accuse Nancy Anderberg of posting a fake medical director on her website, a woman investigators say lived in Texas and was never licensed in Minnesota. Anderberg owns a Regan Life anti-aging med spa, and her attorney says she's denying all charges against her. According to the criminal complaint, authorities began investigating Anderberg last summer, but the Scott County attorney says he believes this has been going on for several years now.
She indicated at one time that she learned how to do it by watching YouTube videos. The one individual that came forward about that said she got injected and it was very painful.
Witnesses in the criminal complaint tell authorities Anderberg says she gets her Botox from China and, quote, injects people with everything. She is due in court on November 3rd. Well, tonight is the night Purple Rain the musical begins previews at the State Theater in Minneapolis. The musical is based on the iconic movie and album by the one and only Prince. The final form of the show officially debuts on November 5th and runs through the 23rd before moving to Broadway. Jessica Hart has a behind-the-scenes look at how this major show came together.
At the State Theater, lights will soon shine. On the Kid. In a rehearsal studio, Chris Collins works to match Prince's pitch.
We heard through various people that near the end of his life, he was actually considering making a musical. I mean, he loved the theater, you know. So I feel like in some ways this is the theater trying to love him back or something.
Brandon Jacobs Jenkins and Liliana Blaine Cruz are the musical minds.
It's gonna be a party, I'm excited!
Behind Purple Rain, the musical adaptation of Prince's 1984 film.
I just feel honored to be a part of it. He inspired me so much.
Ebony Williams is the choreographer.
It's great to be a part of something that helps push his legacy forward.
Because in this life, they want his legacy to live.
We don't always celebrate love, but that's what Prince did. And so we've been given the assignment to celebrate love and encourage other people to do the same.
Jason Michael Webb arranged Prince's biggest hits.
Don't care. The truth and the love of Prince's music is so powerful.
A powerful force that guides them.
You feel him. You feel him everywhere.
To give a powerful performance.
I don't care where we go. The amount of people who have half-jokingly threatened my life in this process, you know, fans who just really want this to be the one.
The one that gets his story right and honors his legacy.
Take me with you.
In Minneapolis, Jessica Hart, KARE 11 News.
Should be an amazing show. Only appropriate that it's debuting here in Minneapolis. So this morning, station leaders at KMOJ Radio are trying to raise $17 million to build a new forever home in North Minneapolis. The new site is at the corner of Lowry and Oliver Avenue. The station has moved 4 times during its nearly 50-year history. When they began in 1976 with a low-powered AM radio signal, they could only reach a few neighborhoods on the city's north side.
I always used to tell people that the signal only went as far as you could throw a rock. And I mean literally, because it was right in the neighborhood, you really could only get it from so many short mini block radius.
So station managers say they still have a long way to go to raise the money, but they hope to be in the new building by 2028. Hopefully they can reach that goal. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.